You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Of the net.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right, everybody. All right at the back. How are we feeling? Oh, it doesn't get much better. Well, maybe 5-3 was better. Who knows? But welcome along. We're going to be looking back at Leicester City versus Man United. And we're going to be covering that a lot this week, it seems. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares? I mean, Man United, obviously realising that we are in Halloween month, turning a bit of a horror performance, didn't they? I tell you what, they are so ashamed that the guy that was going to be coming in to do the opposition show is running scared. He's not come in. Does that say all about Man United fans or what? I have a feeling it does. I have a feeling it does. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. This is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Brad.
Hello, mate.
As good at sex, or in my case, better, because I don't get it these days.
Well, yeah, same goes for me, mate. So it's the only thing I've got to comparison to my memories remind me of sex. So, yeah, it was just as good, I guess.
I mean, Man United fans running scared or what?
Well, you know, maybe they're too busy making their Ollie Out posters on CBeebies. I don't know. Maybe they're too busy concentrating on their club instead of everyone else's with their opinions. It's just nice though, mate. It's just nice. It's enjoyable.
Do you think that, you know, that he might have thought I was going to take the piss out of him?
I don't know what gives him that impression. You're a very nice, honest person. You never insult anybody with any banter. You're very polite and everything.
And I don't believe in kicking somebody or when they're down, and I would never play this.
See, you're right, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't know. Man United, where are you? Roy Keane, Gary Neville, David Beckham, Sir Alex Ferguson. Your boys took a hell of a beating. Oh, I love doing that one. I love doing that one. Anybody else from Manchester I've forgotten that's worth mentioning?
No, but one of my mates said, oh, what was the Leicester score yesterday? And I said to him, I said, a 4-2, never ask.
Hey, I tell you what. Shall we, before we get to talk about it, shall we have a look at the goals?
Yeah, let's enjoy them, mate. There's 4 of them, so let's enjoy
There
them.
is. It is. So bear with me because it's not going to be sort of a 10-second clip, this, but hopefully I'll get away with it.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
It's time for the smug face.
I love the music.
That was good enough, but the ending just killed it. Just by the way, I'm just counting four major defensive mistakes there for each of the goals. Like I say, I'm not discounting what you did in the game. You pressed, you worked hard, you probably deserve it overall. But I'm watching which witnessing 4 major errors by the defenders, whether it's Wan-Bissaka diving in again, going to ground and leaving us exposed, whether it's Harry Maguire doodling on the ball, whether it's our defence not clearing the winning the first headers or clearing it from set pieces. Those are 4 major errors from us.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly looking at those goals, Brad. I mean, Tillerman's amazing, and in fairness, Greenwood's was as well. Greenwood's was a screamer.
Thank you.
Credit where credit's due. It was an amazing goal, and Rashford's, well, that was just a straight up and under, wasn't it? But
It was a mistake by the defender. Should have cleared that, in my eyes.
Slayenshoe should have been cleared.
You Leicestered Leicester with that one. That could have been like Jamie Vardy on that. Yeah. But Brad, looking at those goals, Tillerman's was special. Soyuncu was ping pong in their defence, and it kind of hit about 3 players, including a couple of Man United ones, before it ended up at his feet. And not been awful. I could have scored that, and I'm rubbish. Vardy's goal, there were 6 Man United defenders, 3 Leicester players. Nobody on him at all. And, even Daka at the end, there was 8, I think I counted, Man United defenders, and it went through them all. Not taking anything away, because I think it was an amazing performance that we gave. But Man United, Brad, contributed to their own downfall.
They did, and especially the 3rd goal for Leicester, and that's one that's a talking point. Not just because it was scored quicker than I last in bed sometimes, but we'll talk less about that.
I managed twice in that time.
I know, right? But the fact is it just showed that maybe the big dent in Manchester United's thing is there's no communication between the players on the pitch. Now, either they've all been given the same instruction and they didn't know who it was, but this is where the blame also gets the share on the players that are on the pitch at the time, because you like you said, Chris, it was 3-on-6, and all 6 Manchester United players seemed to get sucked in towards Iosi Perez. And yeah, look, it's a great hit. It has to be a great hit because De Gea's been a class goalkeeper. Even in his dodgy spells, he's still a class goalkeeper. And he didn't have much time to think about it, and it's a great finish. But it was made probably easier for him to get his eye in and know where he wants it to go. He can guide it there off his right foot because of the fact that Iosi Perez, who wasn't in the most dangerous of possessions, you could have had Harry Maguire stood in front of him, shield him in front of goal, and he probably sends that back out wide, and we put the ball into the box and try and get ahead of him. The fact is, the 2 men that were marking or standing and closing out the gaps for Manchester United to stop Vardy getting the ball, saw their teammates and kind of went, I don't trust them to do it. They're not going to do it. So I'll go over and help. And then
the whole second team over there.
Yeah. And dragged them out. And then Iosi Perez went, well, thanks very much. You've made that a lot easier for me. And then obviously take nothing away from the finish. De Gea was nowhere near it. It was a good finish. But he should never have that freedom. I mean, if them 2 players are right next to Vardy and he wiggles free and scores it, you go, hands up. Like for Greenwood's goal, I don't really have too many qualms about it. But
it's simple as this. It's like with the zonal marking. We had an issue with that last season on defending set pieces. Do you mark the space or do you mark the man? There's only 1 man in the box. Vardy, as good as he is in the box, ghosting people and getting that little space, he peeled off a little bit. No one went with him. It's just maybe communication, like you say, that someone should say, all right, you pick up Vardy and we cover everything. Also, as well, Wan-Bissaka was completely missing because he fouled a man on the touchline and he was out of position. It was McTominay had to come in and he squared him up, tried to jockey him, but he gave him enough opportunity for other players to get back and to deal with the matter. So
he's not doing his job. He stopped it from. See, for me, this is my frustration with United fans, as not as a whole, but just the special and the brain ones that don't know what the hell they're talking about. If we win, individual brilliance all the way. Always going to be individual brilliance. But when we lose, always Ole's fault. We can't look at 6 players being in the box for 1 goal, 8 players being in the box for 1 goal. Ole, direct quote from the game. Ole screaming, "Wake up, Harry." Direct quote. At the place. That shouldn't be needed. You shouldn't be needing to scream at your players to wake up in the 60th minute. We are 60 minutes into a match. You should not be needing to tell someone to wake up. You should not have 6 players in the box and have no one marking 1 man. Now, if it was 6-on-6, different story. But 6-on-1 is ridiculous. And going after Ole, tactically, maybe not okay. Playing Tella's last match and not playing him after scoring against Villarreal and playing an unfit Shaw and now playing an unfit Maguire over Bay. Tactically, those are things fine. Go after Ole for those because tactically, stupid choices. But as a whole, player performance has to be questioned at some points when we're having performances like this.
Yeah. And the scariest thing about that goal was, like you said, there was literally only 1 man to mark in the box. It wasn't like Leicester had Tielemans, Daka and Vardy all waiting in the middle for a ball to get it across the goal so they could hopefully toe poke it in. Yeah. It was literally Vardy.
It's not a corner.
It was 12 seconds after we kicked off, for fuck's sake. There was only ever going to be 1 of our players in that box, and somehow the Manchester United midfield and defence, and I agree with you, Connor, that goal is 100% liable on the players. That's no blame shell to Ole.
Ole can do everything he can tactically or in training to say, please know what the hell you're doing. But if they're not going to just one of them, McTominay's the best defender on that play because he's recovered for Wan-Bissaka, who's foolishly gone in on something stupid and has been able to stop, press, jockey him. And if you're able to jockey a player on the touchline with someone of the mobility of McTominay, which is one of the reasons I think McTominay in some situations can be better than Matic or Fred because he has such good mobility and he's so big, he can take those long strides to cover off and cut off a ball if he needs to. But if you've got 5 other players that Steve Vardy, a record goal scorer, a top-class striker, and a guy who's been consistently good for forever, and you go, just let him go off and do what he wants, and they're sitting there with their knob in their hands deciding that was the more interesting thing.
I'm just going to check something here because I'm a little bit just concerned. I just wanted to check my pocket, just see if Cristiano Ronaldo...
He's gone. He's there. He's gone home now. He's gone home.
He's finally left. But if the players look like they're too busy staring at their knob thinking about going home to the girlfriend or the missus after the freaking game, and they are concerned about the top-class striker who's sitting alone in the box.
I do agree. I do agree with Brad. Brad's made valid points. Connor made valid points. It's not always down to the manager, but the manager is the one who always ultimately gets the chop. But we've seen a couple of times from Man United this season, lack of communication, just organising. When we've been hit on a break a couple of times, just pick up what to do, who picks up who, that kind of thing should be sorted. And like you said, with that 3rd goal for Manchester United, for Leicester, that should have been bread and butter. Just eat that up and just wait for numbers to get back, and it should be a wrap and move on. But obviously not. So we need to be like, we're going to highlight the good and the bad. We like the good thing about Connor, myself. If you go, we're not going to say, "Oh, I hate this," or "I hate that," or "Ollie ain't," or that kind of thing. We're just going to be honest about it and say, how can we improve? And as Connor's just articulately put about that move, what the issue was, and who has to take some responsibility for it. As simple as that.
Yeah, there's a difference
the thing that's been coming across to me, and I'll put this to either whoever wants to go on this, that you've got Ollie as the manager, but his actual coaching staff aren't up to it. That you've got coaches in there that haven't even got the coaching badges. Now, I don't know. I'm not a Man United.
They do have the coaching badges.
McKenna and Carrick both have them. McKenna actually managed Hull, which was a question on a quiz I saw not long ago. I think Omondi, that was actually you as well on the Man United agenda. That the question was, where did McKenna last manage a club, which was Hull. So they have their badges.
Mike Phelan,
Phelan, not McKenna. But it's, for me, it comes down to, and I like what David said, the last comment about how I changed midfield structure. I think the midfield is honestly our biggest problem. If you don't have a solid midfield, it compromises the defense unless that defense is world class. And when that defense slips, like we saw with Wan-Bissaka, and the midfield sometimes isn't up to scratch to support and recover for them, that's where we see things missing. I think the coaching staff as a whole we've done a very good job by bringing in Eric Ramsey. Ramsey being brought in as a set piece coach, used to be the under-23 Chelsea coach, managed the top high school. I don't know what the heck you guys call high school in the UK, but managed the top soccer or football. Sorry, again, Americanism. The top football, the top high school football team in all of Britain was his last job before us. So we brought in a top class, a very, very solid coach. Do I think we've got good coaches across the board? I don't really think so. I think Phelan's all right. I think Carrick is one manager besides Ramsey where I'm like, this is the guy we need, because Carrick, I don't think he's a manager type where he's going to go and manage the entire club. But having him as a coach to manage that midfield, when we finally get all competent midfielders in that section of our team, we're going to cook, because Carrick's going to be able to go, this is exactly what I did as a player. Look up, get your head up, and do Pogba balls. Look at the amount of this was a big thing, I think, with Mourinho. There's a clip of Mourinho when Spurs played United, right? Mourinho and it's on the Amazon, show. He goes at halftime and he goes, here's what we need to do. If Pogba gets the ball here, close down immediately, because he's going to look over the top to Rashford, who's going to make the run on the left-hand side. They didn't do that. They didn't look for it. Pogba made the exact pass over the top to Rashford on the left-hand side from the right-hand side at pretty much halfway. So, and I see those kind of tactical know-how from people like Carrick, from people like Ole at some points. But do I think I see it across the whole entire coaching staff? I don't know. I think there's many different flaws to this team that has caused us to sink. Not just the manager, not just the board, not just the players, but it's a scary for United fans to watch. It's a scary combination of the three that's looked at this decline. And for me, I'm not Ole out. I'm never going to be, fire the manager's a piece of crap, get him out. I'm always going to support the club as a whole. I'm never going to call for a loss. I want this team to win every game.
You say it's horrific, and I'll come to you for this one, Omondi, but, you still sat in 5th place. You're only 5 points behind Chelsea.
Exactly.
And you got to play them. And this is what makes us, and I don't, we're not a big team, Leicester. We've struggled this season. Maybe it's a bit of a reality check season for ourselves. But, if we were sat in 5th, 5 points behind top spot, we would be happy. And I know it's expectations and everything you've done over the years. But, Liverpool were, before Man United had Sir Alex Ferguson, Liverpool had Shankly, Paisley, Evans, and all, they had their glory years. Liverpool have had to wait a long time to win something again. Do you see it being even longer for Man United?
At the moment, I say, yeah. We've even got that. If you mention Newcastle, for example, that's another club. The Premiership, we have to take a bow of Premiership because it is completely the top league in world football. Before it's questionable. Now there's no doubt about it. They are way, way above any other league out there. So to win this league means so much more than maybe a few years ago. The thing about Liverpool, comparing Liverpool, I think when Klopp came into Liverpool, you could see from day one that he had a style of play. Even at Dortmund, you could see he had a style of play. Start to play and a vision of how to play his football, and everyone was on board. The players were happy. So being a manager, you have to cover a lot of issues. You have to be able to keep the players sweet on your side as well, and he seems to do that. After Firmino scored the other day, he gave a lovely interview about Firmino, and he's going to watch that and think, oh my God, I love playing for this guy. I watch that and think, I would play for that guy. I'd be motivated, So I think how long it's going to take us to win something big, I think we're on the cusp of it. It's just about getting the right elements in, as Connor was saying earlier, whether it's the coaching staff, tweaking that. And just to refer back to the coaching staff issue, I do think that when you're coaching, you have to be able to put on good sessions. Players have to come in every day and be motivated to say, oh, I can't wait for this session, or come out laughing, come out enjoying it, come out having fun. That bringing the people together. You're supposed to be a one big happy family. And the coaches are really essential for that, because someone like Steve McLaren, for example, he wasn't a great manager, so to speak, but he could put on great sessions and drills, and everyone, even players would talk about it. You can replay his books. Players always endorsing what a good coach Steve McLaren was. So there's a difference between coaching and managing. But the manager oversees everything. So if he's seeing that as we've seen recently with the spilling out about the players, elite players saying they're not happy with the coaching, that's something that we need to amend. Because when you look at Kieran McKenna, he's quite young. And if it's like I'm looking at him and saying, well, you're not much older than me. Why should I respect you? You were doing under 18s at Spurs. Why should I respect you? Are you gulping? When you're seeing Ronaldo? Are you nervous because you can't show your true personality? You're not coaching kids, and you can be the big personality anymore. There's a lot of factors and psychological things that go into that as well when you're coaching. I know as a coach myself, I've coached top players. I'm thinking to myself, man, how am I going to impress them? You know, because that goes into your mind. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of issues and factors why they've been called novice coaches. But I think Man United are not far off winning something big. I think we've got the players who, like you said, as you look at our squad, we've got a good squad there. All we need now is just to tweak a few things, and that might be Ollie improving, whether he can now. I know Connor was saying earlier about the respect that Mourinho lost. I also think we're at the stage now where Ollie's maybe losing that respect too. Just a few things, whispers, and just his confidence as well.
Camp was not happy, which is not good. And I'll say this: I've got to head off because I'm in the middle of working. Technically, I'm taking a short lunch. But yes, it's 11. It's noon here, so I'm still, But the quick thing that I want to touch on, one is Rashford's camp is not happy about that. He needs to focus on maybe a little bit more on football comment. I think that could be a little bit out of context. I kind of see where Ole's coming from, but at the same time, maybe not the best thing to say to your guy who's coming back fresh from a long injury. And the timing of us being in really bad shape right now. And I'll also say this. The table has just come out comparing our start to the Man City start. Man City did what? They won the league last year, didn't they?
That's right.
A worse start last year than we have this year. How weird is that? The we're in panic mode, freak out mode. Ole needs to be fired. The league is gone. We had a better start than the champions of the league last year.
Connor, we've watched. I'm sure you've watched every single game.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I'm not entirely happy with. We're sort of forcing things too much. I'm not seeing anything like promising where I'm going to be over the moon about how we're playing. Or we need something to fall back on.
There's still things
aren't going well,
Yeah, I'm just saying there's still because you saw the collapse that was the first half of the season for City versus their second half. I'm just saying we should not be in full. My last thing I'll say, and then I got to head off. We are not in a state where we should be in full panic mode where every time we lose, it's soon. Hopefully, this manager's in soon. Let's get the fuck out of the club. If you're going after every defeat and going soon, Zidane, soon, get the fuck out. Go support Newcastle.
So much.
I know why they say Yank talking smack. Yeah.
Tell us how people can find you, because you're not just a Man United fan. You love football, not soccer. You love football as well. How can people find you and your channels? Yeah,
I mean, so on Twitter, I'm under Yank Talking Smack, just as you see below. My channel itself, my personal channel, Yank Talking Smack, I've not been uploaded in forever. I've just been slammed with work, and I also have joined this beautiful group of gentlemen on the Blue Podcast. I'm one of the many different guys and one of the many different talking heads on that channel. I help run a show where we talk about the NFL and the NBA. Of course, the NFL just came to London this last weekend. My favorite team played in London yesterday. We do, soccer, of course. We're going to be getting in. We have a show every single day that's different. We don't have the same exact show every day. It's a different show on different things. And we have 4 or 5 new shows going to be coming out in the next 2 months that are going to be on. We have F1 that's already come out. We have rugby that's going to be coming out soon that I'm going to be running. Golf, ice hockey, trading cards, comic books. We have a big amount of different shows coming out in the next couple months. A lot of us working really hard behind the scenes. So go check out the Blue Podcast. It's been a blast to be with them. Thank you guys for having me on.
No, thanks for popping on.
Thank you, Connor.
Connor, all the best. Take care, mate, over there, over the pond. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Yank for coming on. I've got to ask you this. Welcome back, Brad, by the way. It was a toilet break and a half. Welcome back.
That's all right.
Ollie's has no managerial pedigree. Is that fair? We touched on it earlier with what he'd managed with Mould. But the thing that I really want to ask you, Omondi, here, if Moyes had been given the same time as Ollie currently has, you'd have been back fighting for titles. Dan, hello from Turf Moorhouse. Hello, Mrs. Riley. How are you? What do you think of that?
I'm really impressed with David Moyes. I mean, when he left Man United after 9 months, was it? He wasn't really given a fair shot at it, was he? Especially after being endorsed by Alex Ferguson. But what he did, he went to Europe. He went to Real Sociedad. he's gone away and learned his trade. Now he's come back and he's showing at a side like West Ham. I'm really surprised what he's doing there. It's fantastic. One of the top sides now, and utilize everything. They're doing well in Europe as well, in the Europa League, and they're top sides. Really difficult to beat. And he's brought in some really good signings from the Czech Republic and some other good players as well. And not just that, he's obviously coaching players, because a lot of players have upped their performance since they've arrived. Speaking of Antonio, Rice, who's the centre back who used to play for Juve, the black guy, I forget his name now. But he's playing well as well. Yeah, really. What's something? Is it
Ogbonna?
Ogbonna, yeah. I think people, it just goes unnoticed, but they're playing well as a unit, and he's a top coach. So I do think there's a stigma with some British managers. Everyone looks abroad to say bring in good managers and all that kind of thing. But when you're talking, maybe not English, not so much, but British, you're talking British, there are some top coaches there that don't get the opportunity at top clubs. Even your own Brendan Rodgers, for example, to me, I admire him. I think he's top. He started at coaching youth level. He's gone all the way up and proven to be one of the match of any European coach, I believe, you know. And obviously what happened at Liverpool, nearly won the title. They had a fantastic side. They're playing top football. And they were just off the case with it. So, and he's gone to Celtic, obviously. So I think someone like Brendan Rodgers or all the other guys have not really got the experience yet. And David Moyes, these guys are up there as proven. They're current. You can't say they're old or dated. And they've got their own style. And their players have improved under them. So I do think there are a lot of credit to some British managers, like in the past when we had Brian Clough and all these other, and we had the spell between the late 70s and 80s when English clubs were winning the Champions League and everything else. It was all British players, all British managers. So I think we need to start endorsing British managers again, because I think they're getting a bad raw deal, really, as in reputation. It's like they're kind of tainted. Even with the national side, you know, up until Southgate, they were thinking about Ericsson and Capello, all these guys thinking that they would make it better.
Well, I'm going to touch on Brad's favourite topic in a minute, which is stats. But tomorrow is Tuesday, and this is happening tomorrow. Yes, it is. Oh, and I've scared Omondi off. From tomorrow, don't forget, every Tuesday, Leicester Till I Die will be featured on the BBC homepage on the website. So go to bbc.com or BBC Football /Leicester, and you'll find my comments on just something that's happened over the last week. And you know what I love? I did get a dig about Man United because they don't want match reports or anything. But the lady that I'm dealing with at the BBC happens to be a Man United fan. Oh, what a shame. But Brad, I'm going to ask you this, and Omondi can sort of add his comments afterwards. We committed 5 fouls during that 90 minutes. Man United committed 17. I mean, is that a sign of how bad things are that, you know, we saw players being pulled down where past Man United teams would have tackled them?
I think it just shows the difference in maybe the mentality in the dressing room of each club. Both teams came into this on paper miles apart in terms of league positions. Leicester were 13th, Man U were 4th, and even after this result, I think Man U were 5th and Leicester only moved up to 11th. But there's only a 3-point gap. You know, if you looked at it that way, there was only ever going to be one winner. But what I did notice, when you see a game like this, when there's a lot of tackles going in from one side and another side sort of playing the cleaner game, they're doing it they're almost tackling at the right moments 90% of the time, which is what our Leicester obviously did, only conceding 5 fouls. I know some people might say, oh, the ref was a bit crap. No, he wasn't the worst ref we've seen this season. In fact, he gets a lot of props for allowing play to continue for that tackle by Wan-Bissaka. I think if that was roles reversed Monday, you'd be wanting to see the same in that situation, wouldn't you? If that was, you know, Castagna going in hard on, say, Rashford, but the ball fell to Greenwood or whatever, and you got a goal from it, you'd be happy to see the advantage getting played. But I think what it was is it shows that Leicester were in a mentality where results weren't going their way, and obviously there were still defensive frailties. I mean, the second goal that United scored, if you wanted to be really critical of our performance, we should have been a lot more switched on to a simple ball hit 60, 70 yards over the top, getting to one of the best players that England's in the league in terms of up-and-coming players. I'm not going to say he's a top player. He's definitely going there. I know he's had his injury problems, but he's definitely shows he's got the capabilities and the abilities to get in behind defences. But I think what it was is the pressure that's on Manchester United to perform, and maybe the individual egos, that when it goes wrong for Manchester United, you see a performance and a reaction like you do. They got frustrated. The fans got under their skin. The Maguire chance, the chance that Leicester fans are very football creatively came up with, probably just telling them they're shit and they know they are. But it got under the skin. Vardy's in the rear. Players like that use their experience, got under the skin, and instead of coming together as a unit to try and win the game, they tried to win it on a solo. I'm going to grab the headlines. I'm going to do this. Whereas Leicester have been frustrated with the result, but they understood it, and you always felt there was, and still feel there's a togetherness mentality that we're going to get us out of this. It wasn't that, I'm going to get Leicester out of this. I'm going to do this for Leicester. I'm going to make sure Leicester win this game. It is, we need to improve. We need to play better. We need to be calmer and smarter on and off the ball. We need to show the fans what we're capable of. And I think that is the biggest difference. Like I said, the key word that was flown around all around Manchester and wherever else Manchester fans may hide, is the word I, or individual. And I think that was the biggest contrast. And that's why you got so many fouls from Manchester United, because they weren't thinking of the game. They were like, if I get this ball, I could start a counter-attack. I could do this, instead of thinking, but if I do that, I'm leaving McTominay exposed. I'm giving the man I'm marking space. Yeah. There was too many selfishness is the word I'm looking for. And I think that was
following on from that, it's often said you've got a team of individuals, basically, backing up what Brad was saying there. Ronaldo, and it was touched on before, is he going to sort of, did Ollie want him? I mean, was it a case that you guys got him in from the Glaziers, basically for the Glaziers to get the fans back on side after the ESL, and to stop Man City getting him? Because he looked absolutely peed off on Saturday and was walking off the pitch without even thanking the away fans till Ollie made him turn around.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Again, this is what we see. I think he's a winner. He shows his frustration on the pitch, and this is what's good. People are going to be called out. It's going to get to the point where he's going to be saying something, not covering his mouth, and you might have to lip read. What the hell are you doing? Or that was terrible, or something like that. He's not hiding away. I think it was Ollie was correct, or Manchester United were correct by Ronaldo. But the thing is, it's not the Ronaldo of old. I think in the 6-yard box, he's dangerous. He's a great finisher. He can finish with his head. He can finish anywhere in the 6-yard box. We've seen that already this season. And this is where we need to exploit him. So we can't expect him to be doing all the pressing, for example. So we have to adapt to get the best out of our players and the best out of our team. So if we are going to be playing Ronaldo, we need to sort of have a system in place, whether it's Bruno supporting him with the press or someone else coming in. The manager, it always comes down to manager. He has to think deeply about how he wants to get the best out of the team using his players. Ronaldo, should he be starting? Yes, I think he should be starting. But he needs to be playing for a team that are going to exploit, use his advantages, which are finishing around the 6-yard box, creating space for himself, a bit like Vardy, and feeding him. Feed him, spoon feed him, and he will score for us. If you expect him to do all the running into channels, all that kind of thing, we might not get that out of him this stage of his career. But otherwise, he's still a great player. He's still got the numbers at Juve last season, top goal scorer in the league. So this is still, just because he turned 1 year older doesn't mean he can't perform at that level anymore. You don't decline like that. So we've got to learn how to exploit him to get the best out of him.
We spoke to Maisie on the preview show on Friday night, and she was saying that one of her biggest regrets is the fact that you let Evans go. I mean, I know Maguire was not at full fitness. You could argue Evans wasn't at full fitness. It was his first game back, and you didn't know how long he would last that game. Looking at that, you'd be hard pressed to say who the £80 million player was on Saturday.
Evans has proven to be a good player. I mean, we have to be fair now, but I do think at the time I was quite not happy, but I thought, yeah, maybe we could let him go. I wasn't like protesting or anything about it, but he's still a top level international and Premiership player, as proven at what he's doing at Leicester. He can. This is what I'm saying about a good player. He stroll through games. It's like people. I'm comparing it to Matic, but or look who's your guy, the Nigerian guy in midfield, for example.
Ndidi.
Everyone raves about him. Okay, the reason I rate him so highly is not because of his physicals; it's his brain. Same with Evans. He hasn't got don't see him. When do you see Evans sprinting? So when you see Ndidi sprinting, Ndidi's a great player because he positions himself. You never see him out of position. He's always there to time the tackle. Doesn't go to ground so much and everything else. And so that's why I rate a good player. That's what I'm saying about Matic. People say, "Oh, Matic can't play 3 games in a week." If we play him correctly, when do you see Rodri? I compare it to Rodri, for example, at Man City. Rodri's strolling around the park because he's working in a system where he doesn't have to go and sprint. The whole team's on the same page. And the same with Evans. He can fit in there and get his for Tana, whoever it is, or the Turk with him. They can organise the defence. I play centre back. I'm 45 years old. I'm playing with kids. Not say kids, but semi-pro kids. I stroll through games just from my experience. I'm not trying to boost myself up. It's the truth. I'm a better player now than I've ever been based on my experience. So Johnny Evans and centre backs, that sort of position, you don't have to be a 100-metre sprinter. You don't have to run at 100 miles an hour. If you watch these guys, I'm sure you go and watch him at Leicester and everything else, he will stroll through a game, but what will get him by is his talking, organisation, and having his unit around him, so he's never going to get caught out that badly. Do you see what I'm saying? And
that's a lot of what Leicester fans basically say is we are a better team with Evans in there. I want to ask you one last question, Omondi, then I'm going to let you go because then me and Brad can sort of.
I've got a show, I've got a show.
And give you a break. I mean, Ollie out. I think it's ridiculous to say Ollie out this soon, and I think anybody that sacks the manager this early, Watford this season, West Brom last season, are stupid. Newcastle, maybe that's a different case, but he's got to win something for you this season, hasn't he? He really, really has. If he doesn't, he's not going to be there next season if he doesn't win anything.
Well, it's big club expectations. Been there a couple of years now. You can look at his side, say this is his side now. So there's no argument. We're at big clubs. This is big club business. It's what we're dealing with. Having to win. So I think it's really important that Ollie knows this. The fans know this, and I think give him to the end of the season. Even as much as we're frustrated now, we've got to support the club. And rather than what good will it do to put someone under pressure, make them feel great, give them abuse, all that kind of thing? It's not going to encourage anybody. Give someone confidence. When they're down, lift them up and try to encourage them. So when we're speaking about these things, it's major news at the moment, but no one's talking about Leicester, how good they are. Let's focus on that, for example. But any Man United fans out there, I'm pleading with you, try to think of tactical ways where we're going wrong. Try to look at the psychological side of things. Try to lift people up. Because that's how we improve. You give players a load of confidence if you just boost them up. I'm sure a lot of players, I'm telling you now, a lot of players would be watching this show. I know a lot of Leicester players would watch your show, Chris. They might not admit it, but they would watch your show and just to see the feedback. What's the feedback? Did they mention my name? We're human beings. We're beautiful human beings, as Brendan would say. We all have egos and things like that. So I guarantee you've got a lot of Leicester players that, in the training, did you watch Chris yesterday? Did you see what he said about me? That kind of thing. And the same applies with Man United as well. We just need to lift them up. Don't spread this. It's like, as I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to give you this analogy, what I keep saying. It's like when there's dis-ease at the club, it causes disease. You understand what I'm saying? It's just using the English language. Dis-ease causes disease. So if we continue like this, it will just be infectious. It will spread throughout the whole club, like throughout the whole body, and we will break down, and it doesn't help anybody. So start improving our immune system by just speaking a good word and saying and be a bit more encouraging. We've got Atlanta tomorrow or Wednesday. let's go in there and try and be a bit more encouraging, because really and truly we might have a good win. Then we've got to play. We're going traveling up to Manchester on Sunday for the Liverpool game. You know, I'm not going to be going up there, moody and everything. I'm going there. Come on, let's do this. You know, so get behind the players as you guys do. It was a fantastic atmosphere at Filbert Street. It's not Filbert Street, is it?
No, King Power. Yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry, give me.
And Brad's 2021 years old.
But do you see the atmosphere there? You can see the fans. We're on it. The community is really good. Yeah. So Leicester, a great club. You've got to keep endorsing them, keep supporting them. And the thing is, like you said, finally, there's key performance indicators for every club. And you won the FA Cup last season. That is above your key performance indicator. Maybe you'd want to get the top 4, but that would be above your key performance indicator. Our key performance indicator would be getting far in the Champions League and maybe challenging for the title this year. So if we do anything less than that, then you can raise question marks at the end of the season.
Yeah. Omondi, it's been great. You were later to go into the show than Harry Maguire going into a tackle, but very much. I had to get it in. Give your channels a shout out. How can people find you, Omondi?
First of all, Chris, I just want to say every time I've been on the show, I feel really good. You're welcoming. Your show is fantastic. I always tune in when I can to Leicester Till I Die. You have top guests, everything else. So, and your club is doing really well. What a time to be on Chris's show and to be doing podcasts like this. You know, great club. Really endorse it. It's all when you're seeing things happening in Newcastle and everything else. I really endorse Leicester. This is why we really endorse Leicester, because you're doing it your way and you're doing it smartly as well. So big up Leicester. As for me, my name's Omondi Juma. You can find me at the Man Utd Agenda. We're starting the show at 7:30, 8:30 today. We will be going into the issues that happened over the weekend, and we will be sort of trying to break them down, and without being controversial or being aggressive or anything like that. We're just trying to get the best out of our club and maximize what we've got and see what we can do. Because we know, some of the players at the club will be watching. Trust me, they do. So keep doing what you're doing, Chris. And God bless you, man. Thanks for having me on. I really do apologize for being late and all the time. I forgive you. We
just got the piss out of you when you were here. Don't worry about it.
My ears were burning. That's what made me get on the show, you know. Brad, God bless you, man. Lovely to see you again, Brad.
Andrew, man.
You've cut your hair, I've noticed. You've cut your hair, but it's still the same, Brad. Isn't that right?
Still the same. Never change that. Never change me, mate.
It's not an issue of Samson. Your Mrs. ain't Delilah, is she?
No. If she's out there, she can hunt me down. She can go away. Okay. She's not cut my hair again.
Good luck in the Europa League, guys.
Okay. Cheers. Yeah. I'm on there.
And we'll put your link in the description after. So thank you very much. Good luck against Atlanta.
See you later.
Cheers,
bye-bye.
Mate. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks to Omondi there. I didn't realise his show was at 8:30. It was cutting it a little bit fine, but then again, he was late, so it serves him right.
He went into Ollie time on this show, didn't he?
It did. Hey, you like a quiz? We've got a new quiz possibly coming up here at Leicester Till I Die.
Tell me more. I want to know if I can be involved, first of all.
We're having a pilot, so we're seeing how the pilot goes. It's a new quiz coming real soon to Leicester Till I Die TV. I don't know if you've been watching Squid Game at all. It's not like Squid Game. So don't worry, it's not like that at all. Can you beat Craig in the race to the finish line? Come and have a go if you think you're good enough. We've got a bit of a pilot, like I say, to see whether it works, because it's in the planning stage at the moment. So, like all good channels, are going to have a pilot episode, see how it goes with Craig and Dan, and we'll it may go on, or it may just stick at one show. Who knows yet? Yeah. Who knows? But hey, going back Saturday, look, these were the stats before the game. 30 played in the Premier League, all in all. And we'd only ever won 3. One of those was a 5-3, of course. They hadn't lost away from home for 29 games. I think we've beaten them now they haven't beaten us for 4 games. I think we've had 3 wins, and the one before that was the draw. I mean, we need to play that every week, don't we?
We certainly do. Two little. I have to talk about facts, right? I'm going to talk about facts here, as your famous man would say.
I've not got Benitez handy. I'm sorry.
Well, see, I knew that's why I improvised for you, mate.
I can give you this one.
Correct.
I can give you this one if you want. Always makes me smile.
But yes, back to the facts. I talk about the facts. Yeah, the facts was that the final nail in Manchester United's coffin to end their 29-game winning streak, or undefeated streak, shall I say, away from home, was put in by Leicester's very own 29, Patson Decker. That's facts number one. Facts number two. That is the first time, and you can tell by the limited amount of wins Leicester have got during this fixture, that Leicester have performed back-to-back victories over Manchester United since 1901. And even back then, we weren't even known as Leicester City. It was when we were still originated under the name Leicester Fox. And I didn't know that.
I'm impressed with those. Some people might call them stats.
I know, right? They're the stats I like because I get to know
you call them facts. I might call them stats. What's got me, and this really annoyed me, and I must admit, I was on Richie's show last night, and it was very enjoyable. There was me and about half a dozen Man United fans. What can I say? Come on, bring it on. But one guy was really... He was being a typical Man United fan, let's just say that. And he apologised afterwards, but he said, this was a Man United fan saying, we haven't really played anybody big this season, but we've now got Man City, Liverpool. And I went, hang on, you've just played somebody big. You played a team that's finished fifth for the last 2 seasons running. If you're playing a team that won the FA Cup last year, I think you could say at the moment, maybe not historically, but at the moment, we are a big club. And
in the last 7 years, we've won more than them.
Well, exactly. And this is, I think, what gets me with the bigger clubs is it's their attitude like that. We should be winning because we've got the history.
Self-entitlement.
Yeah, history doesn't win you trophies, I'm afraid. Like I say, and Liverpool were a lot. Well, this upset a few people because I said before Alex Ferguson went to United, Liverpool were a bigger club. And that went down like bacon at a Jewish wedding. It was totally. They didn't like me saying that at all. Oh, we've got more fans abroad. We've got more foreign fans. Wow. You know what I mean? I'm not bothered about fans abroad.
Yeah. But that's all because of their sponsorships and all the endorsements they get. That's got nothing to do with that, with other countries, because there's a lot of countries out there who are in dire financial states of a country. They're not very well known about the sport of football in terms of they never really get to see it played. And I mean this with the greatest respect. I'm not disrespecting them as a country. I'm just saying the general state of their countries are like in Africa and in Asia and places like that where they're not very well off. They're in a poverty state. We think we have it bad in Britain. I'd rather have it how we have it than some countries do to them. But if it wasn't for these companies endorsing Manchester United and having investments in United, and then taking and then Man U either through contract allowances to allow them to stream them games over there, nobody would know in them countries who the bloody hell Manchester United were. Realistically, until our owners, as great as they are, took over our club, anyone apart from our actual owners, if you ever saw the Sun's interview, he actually said the first game he got to see was Leicester Middlesbrough in that Coca-Cola Cup final, and he was hooked on us then. That just shows you how rare of a game it was. It's not like he was quoting something from Leicester beating Derby in the Championship. That was one of his rare memories of seeing football played. If you don't have them endorsements, you don't have that big far away fan base, and fan base don't win you points.
No. And B. Crom there, welcome from Canada. I wasn't decrying fans from other countries. I love the fact that as a club, when we won the Premier League, we suddenly, you got a lot of expats obviously going abroad, but you do attract winning trophies. You do attract fans from other companies, the countries. Let's be honest with you, when we got Mahrez, we had probably, just under a quarter of the members of Leicester Till I Die were from Algeria. Now, I tend to say at least, 6 out of 10 applicants to join Leicester Till I Die, the Facebook group, are from Zambia because of Pats and Dakar. So it is going to have that effect, and we welcome you. But what I'm saying is it's hard to use that as a judgment for, and it will we'll never sort this argument out as to how do you decide who's the bigger club at all, And Terry says here, I know here's a big bad feel. I know one of the 25 fans travelling to Moscow. So there. Well, all I can say is 25 going. I counted them all out. Let's hope we can count them all back in again and we can get 25 back. You never know with Russia. Phil McNulty, BBC Sport, Brad. This was Leicester City back to the best.
Yeah,
he's right.
It really was. It really was. It was something that we've discussed on a few post matches, and something that, and for those of you still watching that may not have caught all of the post match show, there is a segment that we do on there now, Chris, don't we? Where I I did it on my tactical segment. I did it at the end of this game, and I did it for the Crystal Palace game. And I've been doing it for a few games. It's now a permanent segment in the post matches. But it's something that we discussed, and I suggested that maybe that's where Leicester were going wrong in their build-up. And it was flashes of the Leicester we saw in the Brendan Rodgers era that we'd seen, where it was a mix of great, quick, flowing, attacking football. But it wasn't until the hard work was done in exposing the gaps and stretching the opposition. We was like a loaded spring trap. We just waited and waited, but instead of taking forever and a day to get to that position, as soon as we sniffed blood, they went, right, got you, and we we did it, and it was a joy to watch. The fact that when Rashford equalised, Chris, if you said to me that was a 90th minute blew the whistle, we were still happy with the fact that the performance was just so good to watch, that even if we'd have come out of that with just a point, you'd have felt just as confident going into Thursday's game than you would.
I don't have to hide my T-shirt now that says winners. I can move and let that come out again now. I was going to have it right here next to me, but I thought that might have been a bit cheeky. What has annoyed me is, and I mentioned this at the top of the show, what's annoyed me is the fact that Man United were bad, according to the press. Leicester weren't good. And I think that's, yes, but, I don't think Man United were as bad as a lot of their fans and a lot of people are saying, but different standards, I guess, and different expectations. But were they bad because we didn't let them be good?
There's definitely a strong element for that. Unfortunately, if you're just someone scrolling through Facebook, or you're scrolling on the BBC Sport app to check the scores, and you're not a Leicester fan, and maybe you're not a Man United fan, maybe you're a rival supporter, maybe you support Aston Villa or Wolves, or maybe you support Man City and Liverpool, vice versa. What sells a headlines more to you, or makes you want to click on an article more? Leicester beat Manchester United, or Leicester tear woeful Manchester United apart. It's all about how they sell it, mate. You know that from sales. I know that from sales. It's how you sell it. At the end of the day, what reads better is woeful Man U torn to shreds by Leicester in 6-goal thriller than Leicester beat Manchester United. 13th beat 4th. It doesn't really... People go, oh, cool, Leicester won. But they go, oh, bloody hell, 6 goals and Leicester apparently destroyed them. Oh, I want to read this. This is going to be funny. Yeah, that's why we do it, mate. That's why we click. That's why our brains respond to things. It's
I
all part
agree,
of
but I
that.
just think we didn't.
But yeah,
I don't think we got the praise we deserve
no,
for that
no,
performance. That's what
no,
gets me. And it's
no.
not just Man United. I'm not going to dig at Man
Yeah,
United. If we did, Man City, if we did Chelsea, it wouldn't be the fact that Leicester won the game. It would be the favoured six lost the game, and that's what
yeah,
kind of, because we're not, we're a club that's up there now. Like I say, with the last few, seasons results, I just think,
yeah.
will there ever be a time when people go, yeah, let's respect Leicester?
No, you're right. Unfortunately, Chris, that will never change. For the reasons I just pointed out, it is easy to talk about the frailties of a bigger club or a bigger club, and it's more compelling, in their opinion, to discuss what's wrong with Leicester, what's wrong with Manchester United, than what was great about Leicester. What they kind of what the media think works with us. And it doesn't work with people like me and you, and honest people like Omondi and Yank Talking Smack that come on our shows and go on other people's shows and be like, well, we're actually a bit sensible in the terms of we can see the good and bad in our team, and we're not afraid to speak it. Is the pundits and the media, when they're typing a story or they're on the Match of the Days or the BT Sports after the game, is they think that fans won't notice it if they do this. Man U were bad, Man U were this, but let's not take anything away from Leicester because they were good. But Man U were bad and he was bad. But let's remember Leicester were good. And that's what they do to make you think that they're not. But we all know they're all focusing on the big story because everybody would rather laugh. And let's face it, in the banter aside, we could be quite toxic when it comes to winning games when we get a bit smug because all we do is go out to watch people raging about their team losing, don't we? Arsenal Fan TV for a big statement. We all love watching them when they lose because we know one of them's going to lose the SHIT. Yeah. Unfortunately, because of that mantra, and that's the cycle that all globally, football fans, media, Facebook posts, websites, or however it's done these days, present it, that's how they'll always do it. We could have beat Manchester United 8-0. I bet you Villa got the same treatment when they beat Liverpool 7-2. No, I bet you it was, Villa were great. They were good goals. But Liverpool were bad. Liverpool missed this player. Liverpool had this performer and he was bad. But Villa scored. It's like, just to remind you, we do as if they're reminding themselves that another team was involved in the game. And that, unfortunately,
says there, Leicester is not the most, well, it said talented of clubs in the EPL, but we were most feared by the top six. That is probably a very good point because we have the best record of teams outside the so-called, let's call them the Sky Six. Let's give them the proper name there. The Sky Six, We, it's like the English Super Cup. We're going to rename everything slowly. Outside the Sky Six, we probably have the best record against them than any other club in the league.
Yeah, we are probably. No, I wouldn't even say probably. Like I famously have been saying about the likes of Vardy when people argue about him being world class. I'll fight a man, right? I'll fight a man that tells me that Leicester aren't the first name on everybody's lips when they think outside of Sky's Big Six. Who's the biggest club? I know they'll say now financially, yes, it's Newcastle. But if you said to me right now, take the Big Six out the Premier League like they tried to do, but failed miserably, in a sense, and you went, right, who would be top of the pops? If we lived in a world where the Super League had happened, who would be top of the pops? Who would be the main title winners or the biggest title challengers? I think 95% of people would go, if I'm being honest, it's Leicester. They're more suited to it.
Yeah, definitely. But looking again quickly at the, as Scott says here, they're really under the top four. The rest are coming together. I mean, Arsenal and Tottenham are there, not even because they've won anything. It's just the teams that get the viewers for Sky around the world. And that's what we've got. That's what it is, basically. And we'll always have this argument, what constitutes a bit. I had this argument on the Man United on Rich's channel last night that, this one Man United fan was really having a go at me. And he said, like, you've just called Manchester City a big six club, and they're not because they can't fill the stadium. I'm like, yeah, but they're richer than you. Where does it,
There's one more than you in recent years.
Yeah. But I mean, going back to the performance, and we discussed this on the post-match show, and the performance of the season: 10 for the manager, 10 for the team. Alan, in fairness, did not want to choose a man of the match. He wanted to go for the whole team, as did Brian, who writes the match report for me. But I couldn't fit 11 pictures on the circle in the middle of the day. You got to pick one. So he went for Inacho. Let's just enjoy the moment. Everything clicked into place. And, we've talked about the team, and to me, they were harassing Man United. We were first to the ball. We were first to the second balls. The passes where before we looked like we were playing on PlayStation, we'd press the pass instead of the shoot. We'd got everything right. We were finding our own team players and what have you. But let's give some credit to Brendan. He came out with that team. And we said when we saw the team at the start that, we were quite happy with this team. We thought it was a good team. He'd gone for 3 at the back. He'd brought a Marty in. Again, a Marty who, we've never always had a good word to say, was as solid as he could have been. He got it spot on, even with his substitutions, which we often query.
Yeah, he did. And it's funny enough that you end up asking me to come on the show because Monday was running a bit late, because beforehand I was just watching the LCFC TV's Extra Time from their channel. I was watching that, and Matt Elliott made a really, really good point. You're bringing up a Marty there, because he said what you felt is and he was talking about a different thing, but I'll get to the basis of his point. And his point was that yes, a Marty probably knows he's not going to start every week. He's going to struggle to ever move Soyuncu and Evans, and when he's back from his injury for Fafana, out of that 11. But he knows, and the confidence that Leicester fans have started over the last 7 or 8 months when we've seen him play, Leicester fans as more than anybody, obviously, because obviously the players have confidence in him, but more, we know there's been question marks over these Mendes and Martys coming in. But what it was nice to hear is there wasn't that debate this time of where are they in Leicester? Are they out the door? Are they going to be good enough to stay around? He referred to him as a squad player. And I think it was and we've said this before about other players, i.e. having the likes of Samore coming in for Ndidi. You felt more secure knowing that if he's going to play 3 at the back, if a Marty comes in, it's not actually that bad a deal, because he can actually defend. It turns out he can defend. And when he's given these run of games, whether it's through injuries or suspensions, he does a job that kind of, yes, of course, out of the 3 or 4 centre-backs, maybe in recent weeks he's overtaken Vestergaard in terms of comfortability, but he was probably the last one on your brain as who you'd pick. But when he's also one that you think, but if he did step in, we wouldn't mind it. And another thing, touching on your point about giving credit to Brendan, is in seasons gone by, when we've seen 3 at the back, Chris, how often have we seen 2 up front? And because normally with this 2 at the system, when we're here, we're playing a 3-5-2. We're almost either think, when we're here, there's 3 at the back, or it's 5 at the back, or however it's being organised. We're thinking, right, so does that mean he's going to put Madison in, and we're instantly thinking he's going to get Madison, but he found a way to get them all in. And that's something that, we've heard in the background. It's difficult to get them in, and maybe just at the right time, just like he kind of did when it was unfortunate that Barnes got injured, that it kind of happened to stumble upon it, that maybe through trial and error, the pennies re-dropped, it's clicked again for Leicester in a new way, because instead of changing too much how the style of play, maybe Brendan's gone, right, I won't change the style, I'll get us back to this fast tempo, happy to recycle and drag teams out again sort of thing was just the way they went about the game. But he's found a shape that gives Maddison and Tielemans that freedom. Because as we talked about, we felt that they were when they played with a 3-man midfield, it felt like they were getting in each other's way and in a bit of a muddle. Now they're more separated almost in designated areas. Like you sort that area, you sort that area, that's your area. It just flowed better naturally. And I think that really has been the start of what they've obviously been working on and trying to find the solutions to. And I think they genuinely found it. And going forward, I'd like to see more of that formation going forward if that's how it's going to be operated.
Scott says there, Brendan has a thankless task now. He has a stronger squad. He has to rotate players and systems. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work. It doesn't, but that's why he gets paid the big bucks. And that's what Pep's been doing for years at many clubs, what Klopp's been able to do, what Ollie can't seem to do. And last comment here from B. Crom. Evans gets a 10 for shutting down Ronaldo. It was in his pocket. Brad, thank you so much for jumping on at the last minute. You saved me there. We didn't think we were going to get a United fan on, and then typically, like a bus, we got two. So thanks so much for coming on. As always insightful, and you know what you're talking about, which is more than me. So thanks very much. And we may see you later in the week.
You may possibly. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know. I did send a message from in the group chat, so I'll check on that. But thank you.
I will let you know about that as soon as I can. It might be on the day that I have to let you know. I just don't know the plans we've got here because we're having a few bits of work on here. So it all depends.
It's a very odd time as well because don't forget it's a 3:30 kickoff on Wednesday, folks.
Yeah, because
which is actually about 5 or it might even be 6:30 in Russia.
Yeah, and apparently, if anyone's saying why is it that time kickoff, because normally the away legs work at around about 5 o'clock-ish, don't they, over there? Sometimes you might get a weird 4:45 kickoff. Yeah. The reason for that being is I believe there's like a Russian derby. I couldn't name the teams. I don't follow the Russian league, but I think there's like a local derby, and for policing it.
Well, I think that as well. That's why we're on the Wednesday rather than the Thursday. I could say, guys, get used to these Wednesday kickoffs. We may have them next season. Who knows? Brad, thank you very much, young man, and we'll possibly talk later in the week. But as always, you were very, very good tonight, and you dug me out. So thank you, sir.
No worries. It's a pleasure always, mate. I'm enjoying it. And cheers, everybody, for joining in. Hit the subscribe button. There you go.
Indeed. Cheers, buddy. Take care. Thanks to Brad there for popping in, because at the start, on the opposition view, I didn't have an opposition fan. And we were saying, had they bottled it? And we ended up, I was messaging around saying, can you come on? And in the end, we ended up with 2. Omondi, great guy. I mean, what I like, Omondi and Connor, they took the banter on the chin, and they literally were very good and very honest. It's a busy week this week. It is. Do you want a sloppy seconds tomorrow? We're going to have seconds. We're going to start off 7 o'clock. We're going to have this. Dean will be joining me at 7 o'clock for the preview show. I set him some homework to check up the information on Spartak Moscow. He's done that, so well done, mate. Thank you very much for that. And that will be at 7 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, sloppy seconds, we'll have this. Indeed, and please, nobody tell Julian that I called him sloppy seconds. It's the X on the Pitch show. I love this show. I really do. 9 o'clock every Tuesday, God willing, and if Julian's available. We get everything that we talk about, Leicester City, anything that's happened, or just generally the Premier League, England, whatever. But we get it from a player's perspective rather than just a fan's perspective, and it can be different. And tomorrow night, do you know what we're talking about? Brendan Rodgers coming out saying, guys, I don't want Newcastle. I'm happy here. Still got things to do. And of course, we can't not discuss it. So much to discuss about the match from a professional side. Leicester City 4, Manchester United 2. Tune in on YouTube. If you are on YouTube and you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit that like button. You can also now join as well for a small monthly contribution. It helps support the channel, helps keep it going, and we can, just helps us basically. If you're not on YouTube, get over onto YouTube, Leicester Till I Die, and give us a subscribe. And if you want to listen back to us rather than watch us, and I don't blame you, we're on all the major podcast platforms. Just search Leicester Till I Die, Amazon, Apple, Google, Anchor, Spotify, and Podcast Addict. Got it right again. And if you got one of them old smart speakers, just ask yours to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die. And you have to say podcast, otherwise I say you get a load of funeral directors turning up at your door. Guys, thanks so much for joining in. Thanks to everybody that was on. Thanks for Scott for modding as usual. Thanks to Omondi for coming on. Thanks to Connor, Yank Talking Smack, for coming on all the way from the good old US of A. But thanks to everybody that was in the chat. It obviously is the reason we do it. I will see you tomorrow at 7, and I will see you tomorrow at 9. You don't forget. And of course, we've got this coming up very, very soon as a pilot show. So let's see how we go. Guys, take care. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night now.
That's all, folks.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.